dreams in our eyes. The crowds roar like a storm on the wind. We're the underdogs fighting again. I believe that we will win. Through the sweat and the fire within, we rise up when the skies grow dim. I believe that we will win. Mud on our boots, steel in our veins. Feel the heartbeat driving through the pain. Field of battle under shining lights. Every tackle about this fight. I believe that we will win. Push through the noise, drown out the din. No giving up, we dig right in. I believe that we will win. Out on the edge where the brave won't break. With every fall, we've got hearts that ache. But we're not done, we're just starting the run. This is the song to the iron in the sun. Shouts from the stands echo.
What's going on, guys? Good afternoon or good evening, wherever the hell you're guys watching tonight, and welcome to another edition of Stateside Footy. Thank God my voice is back, because let me tell you something. Saturday morning, actually, let me rewind that. Friday afternoon when I got back from Lumen Field, and of course the next day my voice was completely gone. A quick shout out to the city of Seattle. You guys absolutely showed up. And it was such a brilliant atmosphere Friday afternoon for US versus Australia. There were a few things I didn't necessarily like about it, for the fact that Australia supporters were in our section, and the American Outlaws were essentially up in the 300 level up in the corner. But outside of that, man, the march to the match was absolutely fantastic. Quick shout out to AO Tacoma, who led the charge when it came to the march and the match. And of course, my brother and Dan McCooey. If you guys are listening, man, thank you guys for taking a big part in leading the march to the match. It was absolutely fantastic. But let me just tell you that that atmosphere was absolutely brilliant. And it's not a surprise, because the city of Seattle has done a very good job with the U.S. men's national team. I do remember Copa America 2016 when the national team was there. And of course, AO Seattle, AO Tacoma always did a very good job when it came to TIFO and some of those other things that they put together. And the city of Seattle, man, make no mistake, it is a soccer town. It has historically been a soccer town. And they're very passionate about soccer, but also the Patriots that showed up as well too. Those that were dressing like militiamen from the 1700s and all the great costumes that I saw. Man, let me just tell you, it was a very, very brilliant afternoon. And also shout out to the Australian fans as well too, because I met quite a bit of them out there, and those guys were just absolutely awesome. And all the way around, it was just a very, very fantastic atmosphere. Quickly, you know what else is fantastic? You guys. And what would be great is if you show out and show support for the channel by hitting that like and subscribe button, also hitting the notification bell. We are so close to monetizing this channel. So what I need now from you guys is to hit that like and subscribe button, but also share it as well too, so we can get the viewing minutes up. Once we reach a certain threshold, I can do the memberships, and then I can also do membership shows as well too, with really cool guests and all that good stuff. So make sure you guys do your part. I'll keep doing my part, and then this channel will grow. So all right, let's go ahead and get into it. I do want to say what's up to my guy, Greg 1987. What's going on, Greg? Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. By the way, happy Father's Day if you happen to be a father, or even happy Father's Day to your dad. So there's that. Says we are going for 9 points, and Pulisic plays 60 minutes with a rotation lineup mixed with starters. Man, oh man. By the way, let's not bury the lead because Greg, Greg just kind of stole the thunder from me right there. But yeah, we're going to get into that in just 1 second. I do have a few things that I need to talk about first. Let's go ahead and get into it because this just dropped today. And it looks as if the Copa America in 2028 will be in the United States. The two parties are negotiating. And of course, we saw the Copa America here a couple years ago. And I've gotten a mixed reaction about the Copa America being held in the United States, pretty close right after the 2026 World Cup. And me personally, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. We got the first test drive in 2016. We got it again just a couple years ago. And this is the way this is the way this is going to go now. And it sucks for South American fans, too, because this is the South American Confederation Championship. And it usually rotates between different host nations down there in South America. And me personally, I would rather keep this tournament down in South America. Me personally, I think it is beneficial for the U.S. men's national team to be on the road, to be in hostile environments. And when you think about this being a mid-cycle tournament, it would do this national team a lot of good to actually have that experience as far as team building, as far as chemistry, and just as far as having that test. This is something that would be so beneficial for the United States going into the 2030 World Cup. But that being said, at the end of the day, them participating in it is more important to me than them not. And if that means that it is in the United States, then so be it. But that being said, this is going to be the trend. We are already starting to hear Premier League teams talk about having regular season games in the United States. And the first team that is actually going to do that, the first club that decides to come over to the United States to play a regular season match, will be the club that kind of breaks the ice, because then I would probably imagine the UEFA would probably try to organize a Euros in the United States, because again, this is a market that yields dividends, right? So the investment comes back to these confederations threefold, and so there's ample reasons from a business standpoint to want to hold your event in the United States. And of course, with the South American confederations, there's a lot of Argentinians, Brazilians, Colombians in the United States, and of course, American soccer fans that want to see it. And especially if the United States is in it, listen, there is numerous reasons of why it should be in the United States. But that being said, me personally, I like the idea of the U.S. men's national team being on the road for a month in the summer. And I just think that, with the way things are now, we are now in a Nations League era where, because we have an extra tournament in the year, and with Gold Cup, it does not leave room for the Federation to schedule road friendlies. Now, back in the day, how it used to go, usually September and October, was where you would schedule those road friendlies in Europe, easing the travel on European-based players. And we had actually some pretty decent results with some of those. And now that we are in this Nations League era, and because of the television contracts, the way that they are lined up, there is a premium for the United States to play at home, which is why we typically never travel. And if we do, it's Mexico or it's Jamaica or it's Canada. But outside of that, we really just do not travel anymore. And I think it's a detriment to the U.S. men's national team, because the more teams, the more opportunities this team can play in front of a hostile environment that has to overcome some of that adversity and also problem solve in the moment, in the face of fans that are throwing batteries and throwing beer and throwing, curse words your way. The better it is for them to prepare for the ultimate, which is the World Cup. So in 2030. So I don't know. You guys let me know how you guys feel about the Copa America being on U.S. soil. I'm kind of curious to know how you guys feel about it. Again, as much as I want to see it in South America because it is their Confederation Championship, I I'd rather the U.S. be in it than not. And if that means that it's on U.S. If it's on U.S. Soil, then so be it. Let's see. Finley 16. Will I be streaming the Turkiye game? I will. That Friday is going to be a pain in the ass, though. Let me tell you. All right. Let's see. We have Rar, who says we love the friendly sports debates. That's good. I'm glad you enjoy that. It goes on to say, I see what you mean, though. Greg 1987 says, get your tickets for the Copa now because it will be Messi's last major tournament. Yep. Because Messi is signed through 2028. So you're absolutely right. Let's see. I feel like having the Copa in the U.S. is probably good because it's going to keep the people into U.S. soccer. Yeah, that is also a part of it as well too. And the more that you have these big tournaments in the United States with the U.S. participation, it's an opportunity for the federation to continue to sell the sport of soccer. And that is kind of their thing now. So it is. U.S. soccer is big as it's ever been right now. We could keep that momentum. Yeah, depending, if we don't get grouped like we did last time. Was that too soon? All right. 16 teams in the Copa is too small or just perfect? I think it's just fine. 16 is just fine. Six CONCACAF nations will be invited. U.S., Mexico, Canada, probably Panama, and then the two other highest rated. And me personally, I hope it goes off of that year's Nations League's standings, right? For instance, because they're not going to have a Copa, they're not going to have a Gold Cup that year because of the Copa, right? So it's going to be off that last Confederation Championship. So U.S., Mexico, Canada, and then if it's like Panama, Jamaica, whoever the case may be, whoever is 1 through 6 represents CONCACAF in that year's Copa America. Let's see. As soon as you play France, England, or Germany, it's game over. I wouldn't say that. Here's what I will say, Finley, is that the United States over the years has proven that it can hang with the best in the world. Now, that doesn't mean that they've beaten them, because the only time we've done that is in Confederations Cup 09 when we beat Spain. But when we played Germany in 02, actually, let me rephrase that. Let's take a step back. We beat Colombia in 94 in the World Cup when Colombia was considered one of the best teams in the world. In 2002, we beat Figo in Portugal to open up the World Cup. That was a monster win. And then we took Germany to the brink of the quarterfinals. We beat Spain in 09. Like, there are plenty of instances where Belgium in 2014. There are plenty of instances where we hung with some of the best nations in the world. And only once did we actually kind of come out on top. But for the most part, we can hang with the best in the world. It's when during those matches are we going to take advantage of the breaks that are giving to us, because that ultimately, traditionally has been our problems. We just don't take advantage of the opportunities that are given. What I will say is, at least versus England, we're we do pretty well. Let's see. Thinking the U.S. will win the cup. It's winning the next Royal Rumble. That's kind of funny. You look like MAGA. Whatever. Let's see. Balogun might go down as the greatest USMNT player of all time. I would probably say right now he's probably the best. He's probably the best striker the U.S. men's national team has had. And when he goes down, when it ends, he probably will be the greatest striker that we've ever had. Let's see what else. Hello from Germany and a Dallas Cowboy fan. What's going on? Hopefully you're doing well in Germany. Where are you from in Germany, by the way? Do you think the U.S. can go all the way? If so, why and how confident are you? I don't. I actually have the U.S. going out in the quarterfinals. As of right now, it looks like the round of 32, if you're going off the projections, it's probably going to be Bosnia or Qatar. And then in the round of 16, it's looking like it's going to be Belgium or Egypt. And then all roads do lead to Spain, though, which would be in the quarterfinal. And if that were to happen, sorry, guys. if that were to happen, I don't know, man. Like we would have to play like the perfect game to play it. Let's see. You should do those vids on ESPN podcasts. You are amazing. Thank you, Finley. And by the way, if you know anybody at England or if you know anybody at ESPN, let me know. Let's see. It's coming home to England. Okay, cool. All right. So let's also talk about Christian Pulisic because there is some talk about this. He is back in training, and I've seen a lot of training videos. And it looks like he's participating in full training, which is great news. But the question is how does he fit into the picture against Turkiye? And understand that if Pochettino decides to sit him again for whatever reason, that means that he will have 3 weeks between matches. And that is at least in my opinion, I think that's a little too much time between matches, right? Match sharpness is a thing, and we're also talking about a guy who had an ill second half of the season for AC Milan and the U.S. men's national team. And one of the things that I would say is that in the context of this match against Turkiye, you absolutely have to play him. Now that doesn't mean you have to play him a full 90. That's not what I'm saying. But if you can isolate the best 30 minutes, whether that's at the start of the match or whether that's at the final 30, then you do it. He got a full 45 against Paraguay, so that could also be a thing as well too. Especially if you want to rotate the squad, you can have Christian start, and you can keep him on the first 45, and then pull him at the half. Like we did against Paraguay. And of course, I think they did that against Belgium as well, too. So from that standpoint, one of the things that you have to do is if he's 100%, if he feels good and there's no problems with his calf, then you play him. Because there are three massively important players with this U.S. men's national team that you have to make sure that they are 100% ready to go for the knockout rounds, and that is Christian Pulisic, that is Flo Balogun, and to me, that is also Weston McKennie. And of course, with Flo Balogun and McKennie, there are no issues. But that being said, he is going to be that catalyst. He is the straw that stirs the drink, if you will, for the U.S. men's national team and everything that he does when he's on the pitch. And one of the things that you cannot do is have him rusty going into the round of 32. And so from that standpoint, it would be beneficial if at the very least he starts it, because, chances are pretty good that, you're going to be able to minimize, I guess you can say, that horseplay. Whereas at the end of the game, if the U.S. are trailing by a goal and they're looking for it, there could be incentive for Turkiye to finish out on a high. And if that means taking out our best player, then, conceivably, I can see that happening at the end of the game instead of the beginning of the game. But that being said, it's also known to happen at the beginning of the game. But again, you want Christian to at least get some minutes in this match. And so the question is how does that rotation set up? And what does that look like? So let's go ahead and get into it. And let's go ahead and discuss this, because I want to start by saying that the U.S. have 4 guys that are on yellow cards: Flo Balogun, Tyler Adams, Chris Richards, and Jedi. And of course, how this goes is that once the knockout rounds are finished, yellow cards get wiped clean, and you start the round of 32 with a fresh slate. But that being said, if you catch a second yellow card at any point, then obviously that carries over to the knockout rounds. And since this is the third game, that would mean that we would end up losing somebody for the round of 32, which is a non-starter. So there is that need to potentially rotate. Now, I've been thinking about this all. Netherlands of the USA, both. I like both. Let's see. You have them hella Northern Kentucky, low income eyes. Oh, I don't know what that means. Anyway, so I was thinking about this today, and a part of me thinks that, number one, there's a lot of people that think that this is a meaningless game, considering that we have won the group. There's nothing to play for. And if you ask Mauricio Pochettino, this is absolutely a massive game. Like, there's nothing meaningless about this game. But the safe play is to rotate those players, which would mean Christian Roldan, which would mean Miles Robinson, Max Arston, and Ricardo Pepi would play. Conceivably, that would be that. But a big part of me thinks that Mauricio Pochettino is not going to be that type of guy who is going to look at this as an opportunity to play it safe. A big part of me thinks that the opportunity to make history by getting 9 points, doing something that no other U.S. team has ever done by getting by getting all 3 wins in the group stage would be something that that he would probably do. Now, I want to urge caution because I understand. It's a home World Cup. The entire country is behind you. I think in a lot of ways, Paraguay and Australia was really kind of that catalyst that we are starting to see now. World Cup fever has completely gripped the U.S. fan. And so from that standpoint, this is an opportunity, especially when you consider ticket prices. This might be an opportunity for new fans to see the U.S. men's national team down in L.A. There could be a case that Pochettino will say, listen, this is an opportunity for us to create history. But I would say, listen, history has already been made because we have never won the first 2 games of the group in the modern era of the U.S. men's national team. That's from 1990 all the way to today. We have never done that. Even in our best World Cup that we've had in 2002, we won the first game, lost the second game, drew the third game. And so from that standpoint, we're in uncharted territory, if you will. And so from that standpoint, I look at it and I just say, hey, listen, we've already made history. We don't have to take that risk. And so that means how are we going to be able to rotate appropriately, but still maintain the correct level of competitiveness? I can't say that word for some reason. How are we going to be able to maintain that level of competitiveness? Because let's be perfectly honest. If we over rotate, we're doing ourselves a disservice, right? So for instance, right, I was talking to one dude who was like, let's just rotate all 10. All starters have to be taken off. It's like, well, good luck with that because we're not going to be competitive at all, right? There is a case to be made where you can start Ricardo Pepi for Flo Balogun and save Flo to the end of the match if you want to do that. But you can still start Christian Pulisic. You can still start Malik Tillman or Gio Reyna. You can play Weston McKennie in the middle of the pitch alongside Roldan or Berhalter. You can still maintain that level of competitiveness there. And you can still start Serginho Dest on the right if you want to rotate with Max Arston off the left. You can easily do that and still maintain a competitive balance. And that, for me, is the key, too, because you don't want to over-rotate. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to give Turkiye an opportunity to get 3 points, right? Like, this is a team that is down. Turkiye is down. They've had a terrible World Cup, losing to teams that probably they had no business losing to. And now that team is looking to at least go home on a high. And so it is not out of the realm of possibility to think that Turkiye is going to come out 2 guns a-blazing, man. Like they're going to throw the kitchen sink at the United States. And so from that standpoint, we have to have a roster that is going to be able to withstand pressure and still be able to get forward and still be able to cause trouble at the same rates as we've seen them in the first 2 matches. Without a doubt. And so it's going to be interesting. And of course, in a couple of days, I'll be back with our pre-match buildup, and I will have my starting 11 for that. And of course, same thing with Turkiye. But what I will say is that, and Roldan might be hurt. Yeah, so it's going to be most likely Sebastian Berhalter. But the interesting thing though is, it has to be done right. This thing has to be done right. It has to be executed perfectly because over rotation is going to kill the momentum of this team. And that's not something that you want to do heading into the round of 32. Right. And so there might be an incentive to make sure certain starters are on the pitch to make sure that cohesiveness and to make sure that momentum doesn't get lost in the picture. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, so yeah, Rar says he is the last person who should be touching the field. Yeah, I disagree with that. 25 minutes tops. It's Christian Pulisic. And 25 minutes would be if you're not sure that he's 100%, but you want to get him on the pitch. It looked like from everything that I've seen, and I saw him running prior to the game against Australia. It didn't look like he was running with issues. That his exclusion against Australia seemed like it was just just as a precaution. That's what it looked like to me. And so from that standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to play a full 90. But, if you can get him the first 45, why not? Why not? The USMNT has a good chance. Oh, this is Crescent. Good to see you, Crescent. The USMNT has a good chance as anyone to play their way into the semis. We are playing like a unit right now on home soil with incredible fan support. Amen. Amen. You're absolutely right. And we are playing as a unit. And, and I think a lot of fans, put a little too much stock in friendly results. We were hit or miss over the last year and a half when it came to friendlies. The last, I guess you can say, competitive tournament we played with, which was the Gold Cup, the B team actually played pretty well, albeit, losing the final to Mexico. But I mean, that was the last time we had some cohesiveness. And maybe a little bit in the fall, but for the most part, you can't necessarily put a lot of stock into friendlies. And I had a feeling this team would probably show up. Let's see, late if we need a goal. Yeah. I mean, if you want to bring Christian on late, you absolutely can. Crescent goes on to say the stakes are high, and if we can clean up our lapses in second halves, I think we have a great chance to get to New York City. Weah isn't a pushover. I don't know, man. Jeremy Doku might have something to say about that. I like Timmy Weah, but listen, that match against Belgium in March when Doku absolutely abused Timmy Weah, I don't know. But I get what you're saying. And you know what? That's the beauty of the World Cup, because magic does happen. Certain teams do have the ability, certain good teams do have the ability to get knocked out. We have seen that in World Cups past. England sometimes gets knocked out in the quarters, as they did last go round. Germany didn't make it out of the group the last two World Cups. I mean, there are certain instances where even good teams maybe overlook certain opponents and end up getting knocked out. So there's certain things that could happen. But me personally, I'd rather take it a game at a time. We're not even into the knockout rounds yet, so my focus is on Turkiye. Once we get to the knockout rounds, I choose not to look ahead because that never really works out well. We have American Auto Transport LLC. What's going on? I hope you're doing well, American Auto. And by the way, man, always buy American Autos. None of the four yellows should start. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on there. And by the way, that's also something we have to talk about, because getting this rotation correct doesn't mean rotating 6, 7, 8. It's like 5 at most, because Christian would be coming in. In my lineup, he would be starting, right? So that would be 5. You can rotate the 4 guys on yellow cards and bring Christian back into the starting 11, and you still maintain a semblance of continuity and chemistry with the rest of your starters there on the pitch. Let's see. France and Iraq are in a rain delay right now. Where are France and Iraq playing right now? Just out of curiosity. They are playing. Oh, it's actually 1-1 right now, isn't it? It's at the half. They're playing. Mbappe scored. Super. Oh, they're playing in Philly. Okay, I got you. No problem. Let's see. If you say take the subs and go for the win, who cares if you lose? It doesn't matter. You're already in the next round. But let's see what the subs can do for us. Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm also with you on this as well too, right? Because you're going to need everybody once you get into the knockout rounds, and it's important that certain guys have that match sharpness. So Sebastian Berhalter, not so much a guy like Miles Robinson, because me personally, I would probably play Mark McKenzie instead of Richards. I wouldn't play Miles Robinson, but you might need Max Arfston. You're definitely going to need Pepe. So this is a good opportunity again for Pepe to get some minutes, maybe even Haji Wright, right? So maybe this is the opportunity to let Haji get some minutes coming off the bench. You never know. So from that standpoint, yeah, I probably would agree with that. So then we have Rar who says, chill, baby, baby. Let's see. I would start anybody, including myself, at 5'10", 240 pounds over Roldan. Hey, come on, man. Come on now. Lay off Christian. There's no need for that. We're well past that. They might try to injure us, though, so that's the only problem. I agree. Let's see. Roldan gotta go. Only dude so useless that bro got hurt without even playing. He got hurt in training, so trainings are pretty intense. And by the way, he's earned a spot on the roster. He parlayed his a career year back into the national team, and he's played well for the national team since. So let's just keep this in context. I would bring Pulisic in the 60th minute. See, I'm kind of with you on this as well too. I would too. Like, it's interesting too because the way that he's been using Pulisic, especially with heavy rotation, is at the start of games. He'll play him for the first 45 and pull him off because there's that 20-minute feeling out process where really you're only, I wouldn't say high intensity, but like that is going to be towards the end of the first half, not the first 20. And so from that standpoint, I can understand why they would start him versus coming into the 60th minute. But that being said, I would assume that it is where we're at that point. Like if you decide to bring him in the latter stages, it would be like, are we up to, are we tied? What is the scenario? Says, who do you like in the Norway-Senegal game? I have a feeling that's going to be a really good match. Give me Norway. And then let's see. I would play Trusty. Yeah, I would have started Trusty from the off instead of Tim Ream, but that's just me. Let's see. Do you remember when rain delays weren't a thing? That's actually kind of funny. All right. So I've noticed that the USA settled back in the second half. Is it me or over analytical of them? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with a part of the game plan, right? Maurizio likes to go after teams early. We saw it. You saw that philosophy in the friendlies in March against Belgium. We scored early. We had opportunities to increase that lead. It didn't necessarily happen. But in this World Cup, we did it against Paraguay where, we got 3 first half goals. And it wasn't that we were taking our foot off the gas. But that being said, are you saying, were they as gung-ho to get forward in the second half as they were in the first? Not really. And you kind of saw it a little bit in that Australia game as well, too. Although, for a good portions of that second half against Australia, I would say that, especially for the first 15, 20 minutes, they were actively trying to get forward to try to get that third. It just didn't work out. And so at that point, they kind of settled in a little bit and were a little bit more defensively organized. And then when we got to a certain stage, then you saw defensive subs come in. I don't think you're being over analytical about it. It's just that is the way that we play. Pochettino likes to kill teams off in the first half. It's easier, and by the way, for this team as well too, it's easier to defend a lead than to chase it. Even though that we're not really a clean sheet type of team, although it was great because we got our first clean sheet against Australia in quite a long time, but we're not really a clean sheet type of team. And but that being said, in the Maurizio Pochettino era, we've done a very good job of holding on to leads. We have never really lost with a 2-goal lead. So from that standpoint, you can understand why he wants to do that, because it gives the team a thing. It gives a team reason to finish off the game. And so from that standpoint, this team is a lot better protecting leads than they do trying to chase them, without a doubt. That's one of the things that we really hadn't seen a lot in the Pochettino era, which is, can we come back and win from a deficit? I think it only happened twice, where we were down by a goal or down by 2 goals only to tie it and take a lead. I think it only happened twice. I'm going to have to look at that to double check it. But for the most part, this team is very good. I mean, I know this is going to sound kind of funny, but this team is very good at holding leads, and it's not really all that great trying to come from behind. Let's see. I've noticed the USMNT settle back in the second half. Is it just me overanalyzing, or could this pose to be a challenge? No. And again, I just said it right. I just said it just a second ago. Like, Mauricio Pochettino, by the way, good to see you, Zenfern R. I hope I pronounced your name right. Mauricio Pochettino likes to kill teams off in the first half. And we saw it against Paraguay, and we saw it against Australia, that we are going to get significant numbers forwards. We're going to try to keep get teams flat-footed early. When they're trying to feel out what we're trying to do, we're trying to score goals. And, it happened. What's interesting, I think we opened up both of these games with an own goal. So, it's Finley from the other chat. Oh, no problem, man. Good to see you, Finley. And this is what, his plan is. And against a Paraguay and against an Australia, it works. We haven't seen it against we have not seen it against a top 15 team, really. So that's going to be something new in the upcoming knockout rounds, because we're going to have to do it against a top 15 team. There's no doubt about that. But, it's a good game plan, because not only do we have the speed and the physicality and the quality in order to do it. Listen, you have to give the defense a little credit here, because we've actually been good protecting the lead. Yeah, yes, we had that gap against Paraguay where we conceded a bad goal, but against Australia, they weren't able to get forward, not with the gusto that they did against Turkiye. So from that standpoint, you have to give the defense a little bit of credit. They played actually pretty well overall, and so from that standpoint, you can understand why Poch wants to do it. And me personally, I think it plays to our strengths. Great question, by the way. Great question. Let's see. I feel like Mauricio has built up their stamina so they can withstand high pressing and counter pressing pretty much throughout the game. Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the strength of this team, that plays into the strength of our team. It's like, having a guy like Flo Balogun who can run for days, having a guy like Christian Pulisic and Malik Tillman who can run for days, and same thing with Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams. You look at our outside backs as well too, like speed, stamina, agility, physicality in some cases, really is our strength. And because we play in a formation that creates a lot of depth, this team is able to do that. And what I liked about it is the fact that their transition too is, especially when teams are trying to build out of the back, and when we press, we're doing such a good job of creating turnovers that our transitions back into the attack has been seamless and flawless. And that has been something that has been so great to witness, where, with USMNT teams of the past, we were a counterattacking teams where we would allow teams to build in, and we would have to withstand pressure in order for us to be able to create turnovers, whether with I guess you could say a traditional mid block. And then from there, it was counterattacking. Like, this is really like the first version of the U.S. men's national team, where we were a high pressing type of team, where, because we have a coach that has these endurance these endurance fitness levels that we have to be able to match, where we're able to do that and then be able to track back and defend, and then also being able to also play a mid-block type of game if absolutely needed, and then also those counter transitions as well too. But this team is absolutely fantastic when it comes to the press. I actually think our counter press has actually been pretty fucking fantastic as well too. And so for me, like this might go down as potentially one of the best U.S. men's national team World Cup teams of all time. We obviously have no idea how far this is going to go, but when you're looking at it, it's been quite impressive. This beats Berhalter's U.S. men's national team by a mile. I think it beats Jurgen Klinsmann's, and Jurgen Klinsmann had Dempsey and Tim Howard. I think it is on the level of Bruce Arenas and Bob Bradley's U.S. men's national teams. Now, talent-wise, it's better, but as far as functionality, it's on that level of high, essentially of being able to get those type of results. So I like it. Let's see. Would you think Poch rates Berhalter over Reyna? I feel like that's insane. Haters to always be the first guy. Let's see. Halter seems to be the first guy off the bench. I think what's interesting is like when Berhalter comes in, it's not a like for like sub. It's usually for a defensive approach. And it's usually when Berhalter comes on, the game has pretty much already been decided. Like when he came on at half for Christian Pulisic, we were up 3-0. And so from that standpoint, yeah, that's, he's first off the bench for a defensive replacement. He did it again against Australia. I think the situation calls for it, right? So, there's a reason why Reyna came on late against Paraguay for minutes' sake. But that being said, if we were in a 0-0 game and we're chasing a goal to try to take a lead, I guarantee you Sebastian Berhalter is not coming off the bench first. It just so happens that the game dictated the substitution. But he does rate Berhalter. Let's not kid ourselves. He does like him. But yeah, I can understand why you would feel that way. But the game has definitely dictated who comes off the bench first. Let's see. This U.S. team I see to be functioning very well together. You said that overrating could ruin them. Over-rotating could ruin the momentum. Could they do games during training to keep that? Yeah, that's a part of the equation as well too, is high intensity training. And of course, Pochettino does not train the way that some national teams train. He will have, I think during World Cup, I think I read somewhere there's 2 sessions. One of them is for like 2 hours and that's at high intensity. And then the other is a shorter practice where it is like finishing and things like that. And that first practice is to make sure that the intensity and the speed, the endurance, and all that things is where they're supposed to be. So from that standpoint, yeah, you could simulate certain things in training, but it's all about the combination of players that are going to be a part of this. And I've always said that, like if you wanted to, you could have different players being a part of this game. So you can actually have your substitutes regardless of where we're at the game. Like if you wanted to bring Haji right in as that second striker, you can always do that, right? And so, Ballo probably wouldn't play and Pepe would start, and then you would, bring Haji in on the 75th minute, whatever the case may be. Same thing if you wanted to play, Berhalter and you wanted to play, McKinney, and then you wanted to have Gio be that midfield piece. If you wanted to play it that way, you can make sure that, certain guys get rotated in a certain minute. Like it just all depends on the group of players that you wanted to use for that day. Me personally, I just think that, from a defensive standpoint, I would probably be playing McKenzie over Richards in this one if you wanted to rotate, because I do not think Miles Robinson should be anywhere near the starting 11. There also could be a case that you can make that maybe this might be an opportunity for a guy like Joe Scally to get some minutes as well too. If you wanted to rotate Freeman out just for a breather. Same thing with a guy like Tim Way. Like if you wanted to give Serginho Dest a breather, you have a guy like Tim Way as well too. Like it all depends on exactly what the combination of players that you're choosing to use in this one. But again, I don't think we should overthink this. I really don't, because we still have a unit that can still play, that maintains that level of competitiveness without a doubt. Let's see. While watching the past 2 games, I've noticed we love playing some of the wings, although this can be good playing a team like Spain. I can't see us successfully getting around them. Well, the thing about it is it's the combination play in the middle of the park as well too, right? That's some of the things that, against Paraguay and Australia, where we were able to successfully move the ball through the middle of the park, as well as playing down the wings. When we're playing down the wings, it's usually long balls over the top. I like that. I like having our speed go 1v1, but you're absolutely right. Like Spain's probably the best team in the world, man. And they're going to be a tough out regardless. And that's not just for the US, it's for every team in the world. And again, in order to beat Spain, we're going to have to be perfect. And even then, I don't see how we're going to do it. I don't think we have an answer for Yamin Lamal. I don't think any team really does. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, Dest has been farming fantasy points. That's awesome. Not sold on your manager. Could win in spite of him. What's your beef with Pulisic? Not Pulisic, but Pochettino, Wes. Let's see. Luke says England's winning it all. I wouldn't be surprised. Harry Kane is him. We've already known that, Wes. We've known that for 10 years now. I'm surprised that they didn't play it in the rain. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I'm with that one. I'm with that one as well too, Wes. I'm kind of like let the bracket do its thing. No beef, love Poch. Oh, about 2 goal. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, man. It's going to be interesting to see how England progresses, man. I still think England's going to get to a final. They have the right. Me personally, I think Tuchel actually pushed the right buttons, and I think the chemistry with the England squad is actually really good. When you're getting Jude Bellingham, when you're getting Judy scoring goals in World Cups, man, you've kind of hit the secret sauce. Usually Jude Bellingham is not the guy that's scoring goals in major tournaments. Let's see. I think the fans have really helped the team, and I think they will be great boosters for us getting to the further ends. Do you think the fan support, we can pull off some huge upsets? Well, we're going to have to, man. We're going to have to, Finley. We're going to have to, without a doubt, right? I know that. I think I was seeing that there was a conversation today about like if we're in the round of 16, if we get Belgium or Egypt, which one would you want? And a lot of fans were saying Egypt because it's going to be easier for us to beat Egypt than Belgium. And I'm like, no, dude, give me Belgium, because we have to exercise some demons with Belgium. And regardless if you get it in the round of 16 or the quarterfinals, you're going to get a very good team, regardless of what happens. And by the way, there's no guarantee we're going to beat Egypt either, right? Like Egypt, believe it or not, Egypt's not a bad team. Are they great? No. But are they bad? No. They're very good. And Mo Salah can still gut you like a fish if you're not careful. And the reality is, I remember almost beating Belgium in 2014. We had our opportunities and we didn't take them. I remember Belgium beating us just a couple of months ago. And it's like, listen, I feel like we can be, not only do I feel like we can hang with Belgium, but if we get the right breaks, we can beat Belgium. I really do. And I want to exercise that demon more than I want to face Mo Salah. That would be, I guess, the headline. That would be like the headliner because it's like Pulisic versus Mo Salah. But really, it's like I want to get that monkey off the back. I want to get that Belgium monkey off the back because I want to see this team actually beat them because I actually think we're capable of doing it. And doing it at a World Cup to advance gives this team that final missing piece where it's like that belief that they can beat anyone in the world. Because without those quality wins, man, without those quality wins, you can have like the all the confidence in the world, but it's that belief of being able to go out there and beating one of those teams that actually really fuels that fire. And if you can beat a Belgian team, you're going to have that. You're going to have that. You're going to have that classic American cockiness that we used to have, where we walk out of the pitch and knowing that our dick has been there for 5 minutes already, that we're expecting to win. Even if they're a more talented team, there's just that belief where we step onto the pitch and you're expecting it. That's not something we've had in quite a long time. Average Joe's Gymnasium. Actually, it's just Average Joe 5016. I want the easiest path to the finals. I don't want Belgium to top their group. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. But that being said, it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. One of the things that and let me know. Listen, maybe this is just me, but having TikTok live and having to deal with English supporters, I know for a fact, and I know these English supporters that right now are in this chat will do this for a fact. It is a fact that if we get an easy road to the finals, let's just hypothetically say that we got to a final and we won, they're going to consider it a Mickey Mouse title because we didn't beat anyone. They're going to be like, yeah, well, you didn't beat Spain or you didn't beat France or you didn't beat England or whatever the case may be. Whatever excuse to move the goalpost back, and I don't want to defend that. Right? For me, a championship is a championship regardless. You only can play the teams that are in front of you. But that being said, I do want to exercise some demons along the way. That's all I'm saying. I'm sure you feel differently, and that's fantastic. As an English fan, I would never be like that, but be realistic. Oh, yeah, of course, man. Of course. But you understand how English fans are. And that's why I'm always saying, like, straight up, man, 1966. I'm messing with you guys. How come you support an English team even though you're American? Because I like Spurs, man. Spurs are my club. Love them. Love them. Premier League football can never be topped. Well, can never be toppled if they don't do anything about PGMOL. There's another discussion to be had. Let's see. I love how Pochettino has allowed Serginho Dest to play freely. He has come nice flair and tricks. I don't want him getting too cocky as we advance. How do you think? I don't think he controls them all. I think he just continues to do it. One of the things that I like about Serginho is his ability to crash the box off that right-hand side. That was like the biggest surprise. Usually Pochettino will like his wing backs to hug the touch lines. And that's certainly true in cases for Jedi. But that being said, both of them are crashing the box, and I like it. I like it a lot. One of the things that has been great to see, and especially in that Paraguay match, because we only have seen Christian for 45 minutes. It's when Christian's attacking defenders, they're going to overload Christian. And that has allowed guys like Balogun to get free. It's allowed guys like Serginho Dest to crash the channels as well, too. And what I like about Serginho is he's got a finishing touch as well, too. And if he can also be a secondary goal scorer in the process, man, you don't want to control him. You want to let him go. You want him to have, you kind of want him to be a little cocky. You kind of do, because you want him to be able to continue to prove it along the line, right? Until somebody stops him, you kind of want him to be a little cocky, Do I think the U.S. will make the quarterfinals? I do. I have them losing to Spain, though. Yeah. See, Tyler, you're right here. It's been a boring season for the Premier League. I agree, and one of the biggest things that I didn't like about the Premier League this year was the fact that the Premier League came out and said that they want to see a new champion once every 6 years, and coincidentally, PGMOL handed Arsenal the title this season. But also, there wasn't outside of the relegation scrap at the end of the season with Spurs and West Ham. There wasn't really a lot of drama in the season this year. I would agree with that. It hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been great either. Let's see. Look, I don't buy an easy pathway here or there. USMNT don't control that you play who's in front of you. Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can only play the teams that are in front of you. And if certain teams get knocked out, am I going to accept it? Hell yes, I'm going to accept it. Like, I would rather play Cabo Verde and Qatar and Bosnia and Canada and Mexico if I had my chance, right? But eventually we're gonna run into the guys that are expected to be there. But at the same time, it's like, that's the part of winning a championship, is you're going to have to prove definitively that you have earned the right to compete for that title. And that's me personally. There's a reason why I want Belgium. I really do, because I want to exercise that demon badly. And it's nothing against the Belgians, by the way. I don't personally know any Belgians, and if you do, by the way, tell them I said sorry. But yeah, there is a demon that I want to get off the back. Yeah, no, I was actually in North London this season for the North London Derby, by the way. That was an amazing experience. And while I was there, I went down to Millwall, and that was pretty cool as well, too. I go to England once a year because I enjoy the Premier League. So there you go. Let's see, as we saw during the end of the match versus Germany, with Weah getting a bit aggressive, and at the end of the Australia match, I'm getting skeptical of our way to stay in character. Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, man. I'm glad you brought it up. Because Weah kind of is that emotional guy. Like, he really is. And we saw that, in the Copa America 2 years ago against Panama, where he came unglued, sucker punched a dude and got sent off, and that sank our Copa America a couple years ago. And when teams see that, they game plan around it, right? Because if there is a way that you can get your opponent to come unglued, you've pretty much won the mental battle. And believe it or not, sports is really, 50-50. As much as it is about skill and athletics, it's also a mental game as well too. And if you can get your opponent unglued, you've won half the battle right there. And then your athletic ability can take over after that. And that's one of the things that that's what I was worried coming into that Australia game too, because of what happened in the October previously, where Australia essentially tried to muck it up. Man, they wanted to get physical, they wanted to fight. We showed some resilience, which was nice, but in those type of scrums, man, depending on who that ref is, all of a sudden, we're going to start seeing cards where we otherwise wouldn't. And so it's beneficial for the U.S. not to necessarily get pulled into those type of situations, because we have a tendency not to do too well in those situations. So let's see. Local teams, Mansfield around 20 times a year. Oh, Mansfield Town, huh? Nice. Let's see something real quick. Just are they in? Oh, they're okay. So they're in League One. Okay. They finished 10th this year, huh? The Wickham Wanderers. I actually hate Wickham. I really don't like him at all. Not a big fan of Doncaster either. I'm kind of partial to Barnsley. I don't mind Barnsley and Leighton. But how the mighty have fallen, man. Bolton. Although I think they just did get promoted. But yeah. Anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this thing is going to transpire. Again, I think I think this should be pretty simple across the board. That there is an opportunity where you can rotate the yellow cards while still maintaining a competitive edge and still getting Christian involved in this game. Because again, I still think that Christian has to play. I know there's a lot of fans out there that think otherwise. Because we're not like that's the thing, right? They're not 100% clear on his status. Although when you see Christian in training, that should be enough right there to let you know that he's ready to go. But the reality is you need Christian 100% sharp and ready and effective for the round of 32. And this is an opportunity where you have to give him some minutes. Again, you don't have to play him for a full 90. It could be 60, it could be 45, but he has to be able to play something against Turkiye, because again, this dude has to be sharp, and also we have to there still is an incentive to win this match. This isn't a throwaway, and it can't be a throwaway. We have to be able to get these 3 points as well too, and put a close on this group on Group D. And regardless if we won it or not, there still is an avenue to do it. I think over rotation puts us in a position where we're going to lose because let's be perfectly honest, you're probably talking a back line of Austin Trusty, Mark McKenzie, and Miles Robinson. That's not good enough. Are you going to rotate goalkeepers as well too and put Matt Turner behind that back three? That's a recipe for disaster. Are you going to put Joe Scally and Max Arpston on the wings? It's no, that doesn't make sense either, right? So from that standpoint, it would be in this. And then by the way, it's let's say that you did rotate the entire starting 11, then you're still going to have to use certain starters coming off the bench at a certain time, anyways, right? And so, me personally, I think it kind of defeats the purpose, right? So from that standpoint, what I would like to see is rotate 5. And you still keep that competitive edge within the 11. You still have Malik Tillman. You still have Christian. You still have Wes. You still have Serginho. You have Tim Ream. You'll have Alex Freeman, and you'll still have Matt Freese. And so from that standpoint, this team is still going to be lining up in a position of strength versus a position of weakness. And I think that really is the plan to attack. But that being said, one of the things that I will say is that Turkiye is going to be in a position where they're going to be looking, to finish this World Cup out on a strong note. They're looking for all 3. And that is something that, I can understand why people would think that this might be an opportunity to over-rotate because they don't want to bring injury into the conversation. But again, sometimes you have to roll the dice, and there's a way. It's called a calculated risk, right? You can take some risk, but you don't need to be overzealous. So there's that. Let's see what's left in this chat before I take off. Why am I watching politics instead of football right now? That's a great question. I don't know. Why are you? Do you know who Nottingham Forest and Notts County are? Of course. I like Notts County. The Magpies. No Scotland, no party. That's kind of funny. Netherlands has the best fan base. Yeah, that might be true. Who has the best chance in the World Cup? I still think England are the best chanters, by the way. I still think England has the best chanters. I was a big fan of the Jamie Vardy chant, by the way. Let's go to a Vardy party. Bring your vodka and your Charlie. Since you're American, you really think you have the best chance? No, I actually don't. I think our chance is stupid. Who do you want to go down next season? Fulham, a Brighton. I support Fulham and Notts County. Oh, you support Forest and Notts County. Well, let's take a look-see. Let's take a look-see. Honestly, I'd love to see Arsenal and Chelsea go down. But let's see. Next year, I can see. Would it surprise me if all three that came up go down? Happens, Coventry, Ipswich, and Hull go down. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Although I would like to see Hull stay up, just because I don't like yo-yo teams at all. I was actually happy that Leeds and Sunderland stayed up this year, but it all depends on what their priority is and how they're going to consolidate in the Premier League. The biggest part with Burnley is that they still haven't learned that lesson. They still continue to want to play like a beautiful style, not spend the money in order to get the type of players that would help them play that. And of course, you're going up against teams that are playing the exact same style of football, and they're going to get run off the pitch. And they did it. That's why they continue to go up and down. So I liked what Sunderland did last year to consolidate in the Premier League. Same thing with Leeds. But Hull's an interesting one because are they still on the transfer ban? Because last year they had a transfer ban, and I wonder if that carries over to this year. But could I see Fulham slip up a little bit? Yeah, because they've lost. They're going to end up losing, I think they lost 3 key contributors, 2 for sure. Ipswich, yeah, Coventry is going to be interesting, right? I'm curious to see how Coventry is going to play this year. But Ipswich and Hull for sure. And then maybe one of Coventry, Fulham, and maybe Forest. I don't know. Maybe Forest. And it's not because I dislike Nottingham Forest. I really do. But I think Nottingham Forest did themselves a disservice by sacking their coach last year that got them into 5th. I didn't think Forest did enough in the summer market to help themselves out. And sacking Nuno was a mistake. Hiring Ange Postecoglou was a mistake. And Forest didn't have the type of season that I thought they would have. Although I thought they did pretty well in the Europa League, but that's just me. But it's going to be interesting to see how Forest come into the season. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I enjoyed this one thoroughly. I will be back in 2 days as we do the pre-match buildup for the U.S. versus Turkiye match. Do me a favor and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell because we are over 500. So now we're pushing to 1,000. And I would love for you guys to show out and show the channel some love. Also, share the videos as well too, so we get those watch minutes up, so I can actually monetize this channel. That would be absolutely fantastic. So I'll keep doing my part if you guys keep doing your part. Yeah, man, let's have some fun with this. All right, you guys, it's been fun, man. It's been great. You guys take care, and I will see you in a couple days. Take care, guys. Good night.
Rusted goalposts under fading skies, tattered flags waving dreams in our